Minus the rumors. I'm Ziploc Bob, and I'm here joined with Angry Hippie Lady. Hello, everybody, and
Hello.
welcome to and Crimson Row 77. Minus the
Hello.
let's see. Today is the 11th of August. August, right? Yes, August. Dear God, I need to start getting my months straight again. I need to start sleeping again. Anyway, speaking of sleep, or not sleeping for that matter, No Man's Sky's about to drop, and yeah, so what about that, Graham?
All right, so No Man's Sky just launched. It was a highly anticipated game for the last few years. Went through some delays and whatnot, but it finally launched, and the overarching view on the game is people love the game, even though the multiplayer function of it was slightly misleading. Two players ended up meeting each other. However, it's found out that you play different instances in the same universe. So you can affect the universe, change things, and the other players can see those changes. However, you can't see each other. So that's interesting. So, what are your guys' thoughts on the game overall and the mechanics?
I have no idea until I'll play it. As far as like the mechanics themselves, because even though I make reviews, the hardest thing about that is like trying to put in the words how like a good mechanic feels when you're playing it, because it's more of an experience thing. It's hard to really translate. But as far as like the concept of the game, all the footage I've seen, that's gorgeous. I want it. I want it now, and I want to play it. Do not care about multiplayer.
Right. So a game being this vastly huge and having so much and so much potential, I think people are going to love this game for a long time. So I will get it when it's on sale. So, but also with this game, they are keeping a lot of things secret. So right now, as much as we know about this game, when the game has 18 quintillion planets, they said there's a lot of secrets for people to find. So something like that excites me. But speaking of the game,
Speaking of secrets, there are these things called the Atlas Stones, and they sell for a pretty penny in the game. And since you are kind of short on inventory space, usually you do sell them, but they actually do have a use. So if you don't want spoilers, you should not listen for a couple minutes while we talk about this. Um, so you're gonna need 10 Atlas stones, and you'll need to get to the center of the universe. Um, so no easy task, but once you do get there, you can use those 10 Atlas stones to create another galaxy. Um, and it's not as crazy as it sounds, first off. Um, it's basically you make another galaxy and you just kind of do the same thing over again.
It sounds
Um,
like New Game Plus.
yeah, it sounds a lot like, hey, you made it to the kind of, technical end of the game. You want to start again? Is kind of what I'm getting from this. Um,
what?
Which I guess is cool, but you could just, leave the center of the universe.
Right, that's something I don't understand. How can you start again when it's a shared universe, and that's kind of your
Yeah, see, I don't know.
secrets?
Uh, but it's a secret. They have a use.
I
And
don't know.
We'll find out.
we'll find out, indeed.
Well, speaking of finding out, eventually. Oh God, I'm going to wear that word out. Elder Scrolls 6 will happen, confirmed by Bethesda. Eventually, a date, a year. A decade. No, no. We get eventually. So basically, the Elder Scrolls Skyrim was released back in 2011. They have released many other games since then, but Elder Scrolls 6 isn't in development. According to Hines, we simply said we would make it eventually. This past June, Bethesda confirmed that 6 was not in development, and Hines is stating that they're not even working on it. However, the way they're saying that it's not in full production does lend to the fact that it could be in pre. It could be in there's so many other phases that they're just, if it is in any form of production, as in like a pre-production, does that count or does it not count?
So
I think they're keeping it close to the chest.
so
Yeah.
but yeah. So they've mentioned in the past statements that they were shooting for a 2018-2019 release, somewhere within there. So with that in mind and how long it takes to make a video game, they're probably in pre-production. They've probably been in pre-production, seeing how immense the Elder Scrolls world is and how much lore there is and how much dang dialogue there is. So that's probably, they're probably in pre-production, but that can last for years. So that, and they've got, they mentioned, they're not a vending machine. So that, they're not going to just
like you go and press A3. I would like a Fallout. What flavor? I would like a New Vegas, please. Thank you.
right.
Yeah,
So
they're not just for Fallout and Sky or Elder Scrolls.
Believe it or not, they're actually owned by a multimedia conglomerate called Zena Davis. And the only reason why I know anything of this is because I've heard of Bethesda before I heard about any of their games, before they got huge, because I used to buy a magazine called Tips and Tricks. Remember buying video game magazines, friend?
way back in the day.
Yeah. So Tips and Tricks was basically, if you want to get those sweet cheat codes and stuff before we had the internet and stuff like GameFAQs, you bought that.
Right.
And it would have a bunch of cheat codes listed by alphabetically by the game title and PS2 and PS1 and N64. That's how old this magazine is. And they were owned by Zena Davis, and that's how I found out about Bethesda, because I was like, do they have a website? Nope.
So yes. So Elder Scrolls is in the works. We'll let you know more when we know more, but it's going to happen just at some point. Eventually.
Yeah, right now, like I'm just waiting for me to get money for Fallout 4, because I'm more of the Fallout type of guy.
Right, and I'm really excited about the remaster of the current Elder Scrolls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna be getting that one for free.
Speaking of remasters,
indeed,
BioShock. So, as you may or may not know, they are remastering a lot of the BioShock games. So, BioShock 2, BioShock Infinite, and possibly other games. So they have a new trailer out for the original BioShock remaster. I would recommend checking it out. And that's really all I have for you. Just letting you know they are remastering them and that they finally launched a trailer. It looks beautiful. Highly recommend it.
Yay.
They'll run 1080p at 60 frames per second, which is a huge thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Considering how old that game really is. That 1080p, okay, that I could see, but for back then, but 60 frames, not so much. And other awesome news of finding out about news that's coming up. Sony has confirmed that they are having a PlayStation meeting event in New York City, and it will be live streamed. It's going to be September the 7th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or for you West Coast folk, it'll be 12 p.m. or noon Pacific Standard Time. It'll take place in the PlayStation Theater, formerly known as the Best Buy Theater in New York City's iconic Times Square. Sony's already sent out all the media invitations. Unfortunately, of course, we didn't get one, and there was no mention of what would be shown off or discussed. But there's a lot of media buzz and hopes of it being PlayStation 4 Neo stuff, and we can actually get the stuff demystified, or the PS 4.5 if you want to call it that.
Yeah, my guess is they'll go over the new PlayStation 4.5, just because they mentioned that they were going to actually start talking about it in early September. So when two things are
Go ahead.
when two things are happening at the same time, it's a good sign that it'll at least be discussed.
Yeah. See, the only thing that I hope about the live streaming, I like the show. Like, if you're physically there, it'll be great. As far as live streaming, as long as they have no one there from Sega, they'll be fine.
It's a good. Probably won't.
Yeah. But no, actually, Sony is known for doing good live stream stuff. If your first live stream from a big AAA was Sega, that's not normally how these things go. That was just unfortunate for them. PlayStation does have a history, so does Microsoft, so does Nintendo. Sega's just the odd man out on that one.
Anyway, moving on. So we talked about the Steam Summer Sale when it was going on. Bundle Stars is having its summer sale currently, and until the 22nd of this month. And you can get some decent bundles and some other decent games on sale. Like Saints Row 4, you can get 80% off for just $4.99, and that is the Game of the Year edition.
That's all the things.
Mm-hmm. And there's a bunch of other ones. That's just the one that stuck out to me because I love Saints Row. Space Engineers you can get on sale, and a couple other games, but Space Engineers you can get in a Humble Bundle that's currently going on with Rust and a bunch of other games like that. So, yeah, that I would go there for that. But Mad Max is also on sale for just $12. And there's a bunch of other ones that I'm not going to mention. Just figured I'd let you guys know about that.
Ooh, Lego Batman for 12.
Mm-hmm.
All 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, now moving on into tech, kinda, sort of. So, the Xbox One S, it's out. Everybody's buying it up, and it comes in a 500 gigabyte, a 1 terabyte, and a 2 terabyte model. Kinda. The thing about that 2 terabyte model is Microsoft hasn't said when they're going to discontinue it, but it is a limited time version. It's a limited release. So if you're like, oh, I want to buy, I'm not going to buy the 2 terabyte. I want to save up and get the 2 terabyte model. If you can't buy it soon, just don't worry about getting the 2 terabyte. Get the 1 terabyte. Fortunately, it's a limited release. They did say that the only other one they have confirmed for it to be a 2 terabyte model with the Xbox One S will be the Gears of War bundle. There will be other bundles in the mix as things go on, but it's not going to be something you're going to be able to buy that easily. And as history has shown with these limited bundles, they tend to run higher due to scalping, so please keep that in mind. Do your best to try to avoid that, and
Yep. So if you want a 2 terabyte model, which I kind of do, but I'm not going to pay for one, get it while you can. So it is a great strategy to get some sales. But so in other
Pro-consumer, but
right. So I thought this would be an interesting little tech piece for you. So drones have been in the news quite a bit as of late, and here's one that is a bit unique. So, over Rwanda, which is in Africa, it's a kind of a vast country. It's got not the greatest of roads, so Rwanda is going to start having these drones, about 15 drones, flying all over the country, delivering, starting off with blood. So, say you're at a hospital, you need blood, and the hospital doesn't have what they need, they can simply have a drone deliver it, which for this area of the world is a great idea, is fantastic, and as it progresses, we may see other medical supplies being carried. So, I'm excited.
yeah, and honestly, this is something that things like this do not get attention they deserve, at least in my eyes, due to the fact that we live in a very developed country that has wonderful infrastructure to where, if we need something delivered, you can put somebody in an ambulance, they hit the lights and drive very quickly. They don't have to use a drone to drive 30 miles to make a blood delivery. However, in this case, say if there's someone that has a rare blood type such as AB negative, and meaning they can only, or not AB negative, or like say B negative, where they can only take B blood and O blood, and that's it.
And
it has, this would save a life, maybe.
right, I see it saving a life, and it's faster than saving a car because you're going straight. You can go as fast as the drone can go, and you're not probably going to get robbed. There's the age-old, what if you shoot it down? Well, that applies to every drone ever. So, plus you can just fly. If you're going to have medical supplies, you're probably going to fly a little bit higher. So. And faster. So, I thought it was an interesting little advancement in drone technology.
I can tell you from personal experience, shooting down something moving at a high altitude at high speeds is rather difficult.
It's rather difficult, but challenge accepted.
And the shotgun isn't going to make the distance. Well, now that we've beamed through that, let's talk about Beam. Beam is another streaming service that is out there, and it is very gaming engineered, and it has been acquired by Microsoft. According to Beam.pro's blog today, they were originally armed with a small group of passionate streamers and an awesome community, fortunate enough to work through their beta, and they finally launched Beam earlier this year on January 5th. And now they are a part of Xbox and will be able to scale faster than ever before and expanding their team, bolstering the infrastructure. So what does that change for the end user at this moment? Nothing, because they're continuing to focus on providing streamers with the tools they need to create the most interactive broadcast around. AKA, this is this stream site to where it's like, okay, press this button, it messes with the game. Press this button, it messes with the game. And that's fine, but there's not that many streamers that have gotten in on that yet, unfortunately.
Right, and Beam is a very small streaming platform compared to, say, YouTube, Twitch, and even possibly Hitbox. So, this is going to be, either way, in the short term, it's going to be great publicity for Beam. in the long term, it's questionable what's going to happen. Good things could happen, bad things could happen. What I do know is with Microsoft stepping into the streaming game, now that, you have Google, Microsoft, and Amazon now in the streaming game, Twitch will retaliate to some degree because this is a legitimate threat when you have Microsoft's money. So, which I'm happy for. I'm happy to see Twitch will probably. They've done it before. They'll do it again. They'll up their game. So I'm excited about that. But what will happen with Beam, we'll see.
To the point of ambivalence, like, well, not so much ambivalence, but it's one of those. I don't care that much about Beam. I think some of it's kind of cool, but I like that they're there because it will make Twitch better, and Twitch will get better, and it's that entire escalation of I will get better things because there's competition, and I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
So, since we're moving along at a breakneck speed, Hippie, why don't you tell us about this ring you found?
You said we weren't going to talk about
I said I'd save it for later, and we're going fast, so.
We are at later.
I hate you. Okay, so there's this ring, and I was like, I'm going to show the guys this because it's creepy. And
Not that
basically,
sort of ring.
basically, you can feel your partner's heartbeat through the ring. It's pretty expensive. There's a full rose gold one that's nearly 3K. I mean, at that point, you might as well say it's 3K. It's 2,990. And then there's the $600 one that is steel. And there are people buying this. Half of the full rose gold ones, solid rose gold ones, have been sold, and quite a few of the steel ones have been sold also. It has a 14-hour battery life, and basically, if you can connect to a network or internet or whatever, you can, your partner can feel your heartbeat. And we've already been talking about ways to screw with your partner by like being like, hey, I'm gonna go do this super dangerous thing, and then just slipping the ring off and making them think you died. Also, when the battery runs out, they can't feel your heartbeat, so it's like every 14 hours you get a text from your significant other, hey, you dead? You good? Like,
Is you cheating on me?
exactly.
It's like, why'd you take off that ring, woman?
So
That's her wedding band.
so that's a thing.
Oh God.
They're water resistant too. Just, a little thing to throw in there.
Why? It's a ring. It should be waterproof.
Well, because of the electronics.
I don't care.
Well, I'm just saying it says water resistant, not waterproof. There's a big difference.
Yes, I know. It's resistant up to a certain amount of meters of barometric pressure underwater. Got it. But at the same time, I'm just like, when you're making a ring, it has to be waterproof, or any jewelry for that matter, because people like, in the summer like to go swimming, and then you have the entire thing of, like, okay, here's how I pictured this ring as soon as you brought it up, Hippie.
What?
Now from Jared's sticker line, the heartbeat ring, so you can know if your true love starts beating just for you at all times. Oh my God, this is creepy. Just
It's very creepy, and I mentioned before, there's a lot of other things that are pointed towards long distance relationships. Like there's a pillow that you can tell when your significant other is sleeping on that pillow. Like it lights up and it's like, well, that sucks because, there's people who can't sleep around light. And so that would just wake them up.
Or, if you're a pessimist like me, it'd be like, oh, great. I'm sleeping alone.
Yeah.
Crap.
Yeah, that's just, to me, it's like, that's just a reminder that they're still, like, somewhere else.
Right.
I could walk 500 miles.
Right. This is just one of those weird things that I don't know why you'd spend so much money on it. I think if your relationship needs this to survive, then you
It's
have
dead.
more problems than you
Yeah.
realize.
It's dead. Your
Yeah,
relationship
it's
is
like,
dead.
at this point, it's like desperate freaky girl that
Right.
is
Or
way too
Clingy.
overly controlled. I mean, it
why
was
is it gotta
one
be
thing.
freaky girl? It could be like the guy that's like,
It
come
could be
back, I
the
love you.
it could be
The
the
band's
overly
gonna get
attached
back
guy. Yeah.
together.
Either way, the person's overly attached. It was one thing when my sister, we were in the car, on Friday or something like that, and we had gone out to Target, and she pulls up her phone while we're sitting there, and she's like, "Oh, my husband's only, so and so far away," and she can kind of see where he is, and then they decide to race because of that. Um, like that kind of freaked me out for a bit that you can track your significant other via phone. But this takes it to a whole new level, in my opinion, and it's bad. Like if you're in that kind of relationship, it's really bad.
Right.
It's not healthy.
Either way,
Yeah.
we just thought it'd
I
be.
refuse to try to say if someone's relationship is healthy or not because, dear God knows, I've been in a few horrible ones. But moving on to entertainment news. Isn't there another book, the movie adaptation coming up?
Oh yeah. Sorry, I was at the bottom of the dock where that other story was. So World War Z 2 is a thing. It will be happening. It's currently having some issues, but World War Z, the original, had issues too, in production. And right now, basically, they don't have a director. They're working on that, and there is somebody that they're looking at, but we don't deal with rumors here. So,
Well, I look at people every day. I have to because I'm not blind.
I haven't had to look at anybody for a few days. Anyway, so World War Z2 is supposed to come out June 9th, 2017. But, since they currently don't have a director, it might come out later. I'm excited. I didn't even know this thing was coming out until today. I'm not a huge fan of World War Z. I liked it.
Until
I
it's
watched it.
filmed, it's not coming out. This is just a great way to get publicity
Publicity, yeah.
by saying, like, with the first World War Z, as soon as they said, "Oh, we're having problems," they knew they were going to make money because of the internet buzz about it. It's a great way to gauge if a film, how much of a fandom's out there for this sort of thing by going, "Oh, we're trying to make X and we're having a few problems, but don't worry about it." And it's like, "Oh my god," because everybody overreacts on the internet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just sounds like a good way to kind of like the information out there and get people hyped about it, and then everything's going to turn out okay.
Right. So I'm hoping it happens. I'm hoping it's not a direct sequel. That it's kind of a different story that kind of overlaps possibly, but we'll see.
Yeah, I hope it's an anthology series as well because that's how the first one was. Is that there were all stories. Yes, they're intertwined with each other, but you could honestly read like the Scotsman story or any of the different American stories or any of the different like people from any part of the world's different stories, and take that on their own because it's part of a much larger universe that's shared.
Right.
Speaking of huge, huge universes, Injustice 2. You know that game that's coming out eventually? Well, they're already getting the comic series geared up for this one, just like the last one. And they made sure to get Tom Taylor, the writer of the last one, or a lot of the last one, anyways, on this one. Which makes a lot of sense because since he had such a big role of tearing apart the Injustice universe and its characters, it's very exciting to have him there because he was integral in a lot of the planning phases of saying, "Hey, this is how the 5 years before in the original Injustice game came to be."
Right. So, um, I'm personally stupidly excited for this. Not gonna lie.
Uh, um, I'm giddy. I
Um,
might not sound it because I'm a little tired right now, but I'm really happy.
well, to put it this way, uh, in all of DC Comics, and honestly, I could almost say out of all comics, the Injustice storyline, the original Injustice storyline, is my favorite, just because how detailed it is. The 4-part series that leads up to the main event. It's really really well done, really well covered. I would put it similar to Civil War from Marvel of just how well done it was. To see that continue, I'm very excited to see what they do with it, and I'm hoping for the best, honestly.
Yeah. And see, here's the thing. There's still a lot of things that haven't been wrapped up, even if you play the game and go through the storyline. There's still certain threads that haven't been wrapped up due to the fact that one of my favorite teams is called the Teen Titans. Well, in a side story of the Injustice prequel comics, I think it's like a side story for something in year 4.
Right.
Basically, they get put into the negative zone by Superman, and that never gets resolved. So this would be a great way to resolve a lot of those dangling plot threads, because I somehow doubt there's going to be an Injustice 3.
Right. I I doubt it, but but the writers are skillful enough they could, but I think at that point it might be overkill.
At that point, everything would be like, I'm tired of this. But then again, Injustice did, the comics were actually so good that a lot of people who didn't play the game read the comics anyways because they were just good.
Right.
Um, you know, and uh, the thing is like the comics aren't for everybody, so to speak, because not all these are family friendly. Because in the first Injustice comic, it's showing Superman with his arm through the Joker.
Right. They can be a bit more graphic. So.
Yeah. To the point where even the ASRB went, oh, nope, 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 nope. They can go that far if they really wanted to. That, and they can also bring in characters that you might never have heard of, that someone would be like, well, hey, what about insert random, some random, like, what about Animal Man? Nobody knows who Animal Man is typically, except for Grant Morrison because he wrote a lot for him. They could make it as like, yeah, for those who be like, well, Animal Man could do blah blah blah. This is what would happen to him, and I love it because they're really good at covering their hind ends on this one, where a lot of A lot of DC or like a lot of Versus comics, they really don't because they always go with this thing of, well, they never really went after each other full strength because they had that they were kind of arguing. Then they found out they're on the same side, and they came up against a bigger threat. With this one, there is no bigger threat. There are clearly defined sides.
Right. So
and intrigue and all that good stuff.
right. So highly recommend it when it comes out. I'll probably pick up a few. But in other comic related news on the same brand, DC, Suicide Squad. So that recently launched this past has activated lurk mode. Has launched this past weekend. Rotten Tomatoes, obviously, it got about a 29%. However, it did very, very good in the movie theaters. It racked up about 300 million at the global, about 135 domestically. Broke the all-time record in August. Obviously, the movie still needs to make money to. They've broken even, but they need to make more for it to be lucrative. So, and everyone that I've talked to says, the movie had issues, but overall it was a very enjoyable movie. I think Batman vs. Superman had such high standards, couldn't meet those standards, so people went into this kind of like, I just want to enjoy the movie, and people enjoy the movie, so.
If they make a second Suicide Squad, fire the editor.
That I would agree with. That was one of the biggest flaws it had.
Yeah, don't fire the editor, fire the entire editing staff and start fresh.
Right. But
because the thing is the movie's good. Like, Rick Flag, he was fun. He had his moments, mainly because he was the straight man, and he did that wonderfully. Whenever, like, he was the straight man to Amanda Waller a couple of times. Like, she had a couple of jokes.
Right. Waller and Harley stole the show.
Yeah. Jared Leto's Joker, he wasn't there enough to make enough of a presence to where he would have been more effective. And this is about to sound very contradictory. And more effective if you had had him in there more, or had him in there less.
Right. He had some really good. Well, I'm not going to spoil the movie, but he had some really good scenes with Harley, and then there were some other scenes that just didn't flow well. So, but overall, I like the new Joker. Obviously, it's no Heath Ledger, but I can live with it.
There's only one slight complaint I do have about the new Joker is because of his grill.
Yeah.
He has a grill. I don't mind that he has a grill. I just don't mind what happens to his voice because of the grill. Because he sounds like he's got his retainers, guys.
Right. I don't know. Maybe.
And I just couldn't get past that at times.
Maybe him and Batman are going to the same dentist. I don't know.
With like Batman's voice, like it has a modulator.
Right. It's just.
So that one I can understand. It's this thing that messes with your. It basically messes with the vibrations in your throat to where you sound different.
Right.
I get that.
And
Batfleck, his little thing in there, I was just like, okay, if you're going to cut a scene out, you could have cut this out.
Right. And to quickly touch on, Will Smith did really well. He was very not hardcore. He was very, kind of soft, and they did a great job at his backstory.
We got 90s Will Smith. We didn't get the whatever he played in with his son, that sci-fi movie to where he's like, I am going to be the most...
After Earth?
Yeah, I think that's it. No, maybe. Anyways, I'm not sure. Anyways, I did not enjoy him in that movie because it's like I understand your character isn't supposed to be fun and all that, but he's boring, and your son is playing a character that is boring,
Right.
and
So.
the movie's boring.
Right. So the movie did well. Did better than expected. Has its flaws, but people have accepted that, and they do really like it. Now, I do have one more bit of Suicide Squad news, and this is basically for Zero and for a bit of lightheartedness. So, in the movie, everyone has their key item. Deadshot has his mask. Harley Quinn has a few different items, key items. Captain Boomerang. Right. Captain Boomerang has a pony, like a toy plushy pony. So, the director of Suicide Squad has come out to say that Captain Boomerang is a brony, and that is 100% confirmed.
So he likes Rainbow Bright.
Apparently. So, I just find this... He's such a interesting character. He's one that I don't like, but I can't help not to like. He's got kind of a Deadpool vibe to him.
I wouldn't even call it a Deadpool vibe. It's just like you don't like the guy, but you can't wait to see what he's gonna do next.
Right. He's pretty good. But yeah, he's a My Little Pony fan. He carries around a pony. He has a few scenes with it.
I find it very funny because he is the type of person in the comics. They more or less like he's just the same here. He's like, if you do something to mess me over, I will get you back. I will come back to get you. That like a boomerang. And he's very single-minded, and he's very self-serving to the point to where he was the only person that gave me a laugh. So yeah, not the only person, but like outside of Will Smith and like the big ones, he's the only person that was like, okay, you're genuinely funny, like on your own, and his performance surprised me.
What I can say about the Suicide Squad movie, you had your A-list actors, but your B-list actors did really well too. Flag did surprisingly, he did his role real well. The crocodile.
Yeah, he was a fantastic straight man.
The crocodile guy he had some really good moments. And everyone, all like these, your second tier actors did really, really well.
I will say one thing about that, about the the Killer Croc thing. I really liked the practical effects, but they really should have buffed him up a little bit more. Like padded him up to make him look bigger, because his head looked way too big for his body.
Possibly. I guess
me personally.
I guess it's a little thing. And we haven't even mentioned the guy who had the fire abilities. I'm not going to talk about him much. I don't want to spoil much, but
he was fun.
He was good.
He was the moral compass like he's supposed to.
Yeah, right, and he was real good. And this is what when you wrote a good character. This character brings out other traits in characters you wouldn't normally see.
Like he's basically, I can't remember his name for some reason. But basically, he was the only person, and this is from the comics. I'm speaking from the comics, not the movie. He was the only one of the few people in the history of Task Force X to say, I want to be here because I have some penance to pay.
Right.
Because in the comics, he was a gangbanger with fire powers, and he went to burn up a bunch of gangbangers, but the gang in that gangbanger den, whatever, you can obviously tell that I have no idea if that lifestyle. They had their wives and kids in there too, so he burnt everybody.
Right.
And didn't realize it until it was too late, and he just let himself get taken in.
So
that's why it's on Task Force X.
Right. So Resident Evil.
Resident Evil. Resident Evil movies. God, how I love you, because you're not that good anymore, but you were great back in the day when we had nothing else, especially for video game films. And there seems to be a push for comic book films too here lately. But the films based off of more popular video game franchises have been a thing for quite some time. And one of the franchises is Resident Evil. And they'll be making their sixth and final installment next year. It's going to be entitled Resident Evil, the final chapter. Its first teaser, which was launched in Japan, don't know why, as mentioned earlier, will be the sixth and final installment within the Resident Evil film universe thing. Milo Mila Jovovich will be starring in it with writer-director Paul W.S. Anderson. And the teaser is short and gives a small little recap, but there is some new film footage, so it's not all new film footage and it's not all recap, it's a mixture of the two. And it will be picking up after events of Resident Evil Retribution, where humanity is nearing extinction and Alice decides to return to where the outbreak all started, Raccoon City, because we didn't have enough of that in the first three movies.
Right. So, I'm excited about the movie mostly to have an ending, a proper ending to the series. Not that I'm like it needs to end, but like it's time. It's time to get a good ending and move on with our lives. I just feel like
time to take this horse out the pasture.
Right, and I'm afraid like a few years down the line, it's like Resident Evil. But wait, there's more, or a different viewpoint, or a prequel of how everything happened, which
it's like Jesus, we don't need this.
Right,
And the
but
thing is, it's like
But we'll watch it.
the Hive, the underground laboratory from the first one.
Mm-hmm.
That was not in any of the games.
But it was cool.
But you know where it was before it was in the movie? It was in the books. So they were actually taking like some of the best aspects from the games, the books, like everything. Because I remember reading that book in high school. I can't remember the title.
Right.
They were taking like the best parts of all the lore and all, even the stuff that wasn't canon, and going, you know what, we're going to use that, and used it.
So something to keep in mind about the movie is the if you watch the trailer, it's targeted toward a Japanese audience. It makes perfect sense for an American, but just know that the movie will launch in Japan first, and then everywhere else later. It might be a licensing thing, since I know Nintendo and the Resident Evil games tend to be very friendly towards each other, so there might be a licensing thing.
Yeah. Or it might just be something Sony's doing with. Wait, who makes Resident Evil again? Capcom, right?
I think so. I think
It'd be a Capcom thing.
which would make sense why it's in Japan first.
I still want that triple-barreled shotgun though.
It looks pretty
It's pretty
sweet.
cool.
It's totally, not very realistic.
But
Oh,
it's
no,
still
what
cool,
you do is
though.
you take the same thing, like, it's realistic enough because I've actually used an old style double barrel, and I could see how you can modify one of those to where, with some double barrels, you pull the trigger once, the left one goes, do it a second time, the right one goes, and you have to manually cock each side.
I'm pretty sure this one they're all going off at the same time, because it's not a
Yeah,
very
they
big
were.
gun, and it's quite a big bang. But that's just me picking on the props. But I'm excited to see hopefully what will be a good wrap up to the series.
Hopefully. In other movie-ish news. I mean, it's coming out tomorrow. But Peace Dragon, as a way to kind of, I guess, get the hype going a bit more.
Or get my daughter to annoy me.
That too. They have an AR game that you can, of course, using your mobile device, you can walk around and it says, "Hey, go find a couch or whatever," and you point your camera at the couch and you have to stand still for it and everything, and then all of a sudden, there's Pete or there's oh god, that's not his name. What's his name? I forgot it.
There's Pete's
Um,
Dragon.
yeah, it's Pete's Dragon. I feel bad. I can't remember his name. Elliot. Um, and he appears and he's like behind the couch or in front of it or whatever. He just appears off screen. It's really cool. I played around with it for a little bit because I love dragons and they're super cool. And this one looks like a dog and it's so cute. And yeah, but the film will be coming out tomorrow.
When it comes to AR, technology with something like this, I could see it very well coming on as far as like marketing strategies, sort of thing. Because let's say if they made another Despicable Me,
Mm.
Minions are everywhere already. I could see a Minion app like this.
I guess, yeah, that would be cute.
To where you could see them like trying to like play a musical instrument and beat the living crap at each other instead.
Yeah.
It's the Minions. You could see them doing a lot of things, and I still want,
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah.
Or like if somebody makes appropriate, or if like they make another Mickey Mouse movie, or some other Disney property, and they're like, that's one of their cartoons, or like, oh, an AR thing, and it does things, and I could like that's something that's very child friendly, and it's just novel enough to where they'd pick it up, they'd mess with it a little bit, and then they'd pester the parents to go watch the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I played with it for maybe 15 to 30 minutes and I was like, this is really cool. And like, I went outside because it told me to like find a bush or whatever and had a little bit of fun with it. And it was like, that's cool. I want to see the movie, but now I'm done with the app.
Right.
So it's a cute little thing to kind of check out and see. And the dragon's really cute. Um, Yes, he is the most cuddly dragon ever. He's so cute, and he's green, and that's amazing. But anyway, so releases Peace Dragon. I say it comes out tomorrow. Um, Sausage Party. I thought you guys would take that one out. Also comes out tomorrow. Grow Up, which is the sequel to Grow Home, comes out on the 16th. For PC, PS4, and Xbox One. No Man's Sky comes out tomorrow for PC. It is already released for Xbox, I believe. Is that what it was coming out on? Or was it PS4?
Both, I believe.
Okay. Well, that's already come out. It came out on the 9th. It's finally going to be released for PC tomorrow.
Due to slight delays because reasons.
Yeah.
Because reasons.
And currently, Dota 2 Championship is going on and will be going on for 2 more days.
All right. Well, that brings me or us to the end of tonight's show. We've been going for about an hour now. Released some Steam keys, had all kinds of people. We're going to try to start broadcasting on Twitch and YouTube from now on. Twitch is going to be where all the cool things happen. But, as always, you can catch MinusTheRumors on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, all the places. Be sure to check us out there. And then we, as hosts, have our own things going. I personally have Pixel Piracy, I guess, and then mostly MinusTheRumors going on. Hippie, what do you have going on right now?
A lot of things. I'm currently doing a big recording session. Basically, I will have recorded 40 some videos in like 4 days, 5 days. How long have I been doing this? for a few days, and then I'm going on break. That's it.
Right.
So yeah, that's what I've got going on. The normal stuff. No more stream streak. It's over.
Definitely can understand that, Hippie. You've been busting your hind end on that.
Mm-hmm.
And Bob, what about you?
Let's see. I recently finally beat Mass Effect to where I'm currently working on a project that to where I have 55 gigs of video of just Mass Effect footage, and I'm trying to figure out what to do with it because I would like to review it, but it's the type of series to where I want to talk about my adventure and stuff, and I normally do reviews on Wednesdays, and on Tuesdays I have my own podcast that gets put up on my YouTube channel then, and on Fridays I have a vlog to where I just rant about random things. But with this one, or at least the Mass Effect series, to where it's just such a story-driven game, to where, or at least in a way to properly review it, I have to talk a lot about the story. I'm probably gonna wind up having another series that I put up on Mondays. Maybe. But other than that, it's been business as usual and trying to get up a game a week on reviews and a topical week on games. And I recently had a new guest on my podcast who was fun. And we talked about adventure games as far as the genre.
All right, sounds awesome. For those of you, one last time, you can find MinusTheRumors on Twitter, Facebook. Be sure to check out our Facebook. It has been growing like mad. YouTube, Votable. We have a NoScope link, so if you want some awesome gaming glasses, go check that out, as well as we have shirts and all kinds of apparels on a Design by Human store. You can find those links down below. Also, very quickly want to cover the fact that we are doing a fundraiser at the moment. It's a GoFundMe. We're trying to get up about $2,000 to so I can represent MinusTheRumors at TwitchCon. I'll be networking, promoting, doing a lot of legwork, going to be meeting with a bunch of people. This is kind of a make or break kind of thing for MinusTheRumors. It could be a lot of good for us. So what I'm asking you to do is, you don't have to donate, but if you could go check out the site, the GoFundMe. You can find the link to that below. If you could like it and share it, that would be enough. So thank you guys for being here tonight. We have had a great time as always. We will be back on Monday with Meet the Rebuttal, and then again next Thursday for MinusTheRumors News Podcast. So as always, guys, stay awesome.